Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Diane Willock. I'm the Global Community Engagement Manager and Career Coach here at Supermoms. And I am joined by Shellen Brienne, who is also the Customer Success Manager and Career Coach here at Supermoms. And we're happy to be here today. And we wanted to go live, answer your questions, but also talk a little bit about really the importance of having that community support and your support network when you are launching your Salesforce career, or really any time when you are kind of shifting into different careers or shifting your focus. And we just wanted to just, kind of start out and just really talk about that importance and how it can make an impact, especially for you as you're starting your Salesforce journey, or no matter really where you are in your Salesforce journey, and what that impact can have on you to have the support of your community. So, Shellen, I didn't know if you wanted to kind of start and really talk about it. You can talk about your experience and why you feel this is really important for everyone out there.
Sure, absolutely. And this is really one of my favorite conversations because when I made my career pivot, I left an industry and community that I had been a part of since my very first job out of college. And it did not transfer into Salesforce well. And I found myself in a very precarious situation of having made this big decision. I quit my job, I studied and got Salesforce certified, and I found myself without an active community. And rebuilding that after over 15 years of building a career was really an interesting process of going from searching for a job and getting started without community to building a very robust community in the Salesforce ecosystem that is vibrant and nurturing and full of opportunity today. Was just sort of this very conflicting experience. And it was definitely a journey, and Supermoms was a big part of it.
So let's talk a little bit about, again, no matter where you are in your journey, like for you, it was kind of entering this whole new world, right? And starting this and realizing that you're outside of your normal community, maybe that you might have been a part of. So for people that are out there thinking about, is a Salesforce career right for me? Moving into the Salesforce ecosystem, is this something that I would like? Let's talk a little bit about then why it's so important, to gather, that community, and how do you even go about doing that? I think for me, when I see people at the beginning of their journey, they don't really know much about Salesforce. I think this is an opportunity to kind of reach out into that community, connect with individuals that are kind of at that same stage that you're at. Look for those community groups in Salesforce, those, new users or new people to the ecosystem, and start connecting with them, because you can then just kind of relate to other people, right? You feel like a sense of belonging so that you don't feel like so much of an outsider. So would you say that that's really important, to help you feel like you belong as you're starting this?
I think it's critical. And honestly, at the beginning, I came from the insurance finance industry, and it was for a bit, it almost felt like it couldn't be real, this sort of warmth and availability of people in Salesforce. I just found it to be like, it felt inauthentic, and it took a while. It took about 6 months for me to realize that no, actually the user groups, the in-person, the virtual user groups were genuinely very welcoming, and people want to be in community. There's a commitment that's part of the value set of the majority of the community. And I think it's so essential. And today, with especially sort of those flexible remote hybrid positions, I think it's even more valuable to build those relationships and community outside of your direct work environment as well.
Right. So how did you start? How do you start to build that community? If this is all new to you, where do you start? What do you first do to kind of like ease into that space?
Well, for me, honestly, I kind of bumbled around a bit. So I learned over time that reaching out, being part of the official Salesforce community groups was a great way to go on to, Salesforce corporate website, into
Right.
the Trailblazer community and those community groups. And then I looked for the leaders of those community groups and then found them on LinkedIn and reached out and said I was new to the Salesforce community and wanting to get connected. And those individuals I knew already were inclined to be those community builders. And
Right.
then over time, frankly, I found some built ready-made communities that were part of LinkedIn primarily, and then also X, formerly known
Right.
as
Right.
Twitter,
Right.
has a really active community as well. And often I would just search for those kinds of groups that were doing, the women's groups. Women in Tech was for me
Right.
personally, that was a great way to find those Salesforce Women in Tech groups.
Right.
And those individuals were very supportive. So in general, I found that reaching out, just introducing myself, sharing that, I was new to the community, and was there someone that they recommended connecting with, or was there a group or a resource? And sometimes just asking for help, people are often
Willing to
willing to
help.
give it. And
Yeah, that's a great point. I think, and it kind of comes in more naturally as you get into it. I think you find, I know being a part of, local user groups is always helpful. Then you start seeing who's in those user groups. You start using, we always talk about the importance of obviously using LinkedIn and other, social channels to connect with people. But you start to kind of see who the people are in that space after you, connect with others. Who are the voices out there, right? The influencers. You can start with like kind of following some of the Salesforce influencers. Then you start to see who's commenting and who's bringing, more thoughts to the discussion, and you connect with those people. Your local user groups are always important too. And then as you kind of get into that community, you start to become a little bit more comfortable with having your own input and your own say, and commenting on posts, and again, following the influencers and being a resource yourself. So I think it just is that, maybe that little bit of that nervousness of, entering into that new community. But once you get into that and make some of those connections, then you become a lot more confident, and you feel like you can add, some of your voice to that. And I do think also that, again, it can be intimidating when you're starting out, but everybody is so willing to help, at least in the Salesforce community, they're so willing to help. I also like the other point that you brought up too, is try to diversify a little bit, right? In the space of who you are connecting with and who you're adding into your community and your support network. Women in tech, women in business are some of the areas that, Shellen and I would also be connected to those communities. So if there's a community that you feel like is, has a lot of common qualities that you have, connect with them. You never know where that's going to lead to, but it's just so important to have that support network and those connections available when you're making this big transition. So that, that's my advice too, is to have as many of those connections within Salesforce, but also realize that there's other community groups that you can be a part of that can be extremely helpful for you as you're making that transition.
Absolutely. And if you're someone that likes to do things in person, and it depends if you're able to travel, or if you're in a location that has one of the Salesforce community conferences, I'd say that was something that was really helpful. As I went to the first one, it happened to be in Portland where I live. So it made it easier to just go and attend and offer to be a volunteer. So a lot of the conferences will let you volunteer to be helpful at the conference, and you can even attend for free or for a discounted ticket. And having something to do instead of just standing there was, for me, so helpful to be able to engage. And I am an introvert by nature, and so having something to do was amazing. So that was a great way to just get to see some people, look up speakers who are at these conferences. So if you just Google Salesforce conferences, you can find a number of them and then go and see who's speaking. Those were
Mhm.
people that were great to reach out to because they tend to be involved and open.
Right, to connecting with others. And that's a good point too. If you're someone that's not naturally inclined to, be the center of attention in a room and you're volunteering, people are coming up to you, right? And starting conversations often. So it's an easy way, an icebreaker to get into those conversations with others and meet people and just kind of see different perspectives too. I think if you're volunteering at an event, no matter what it is, if there's some event in your community, it kind of gives you that practice of being able to interact with others and connect with others. So it's always a good idea, to do that.
Yes.
And then I just think, kind of moving forward is talking just about how important that community can be for you as you're transitioning, into the Salesforce ecosystem and training in Salesforce, and then starting to look for your job and starting to look for your next role. Having the community and that support is so important. At Supermoms, we have a great community of people that we've trained, and all of those in your community, all of the Supermoms that have been through training and are part of our Supermoms community are also really helpful for our new trainees that are starting to transition into their first role, right? I mean, they can be a resource for you for job opportunities. They can help you, with interview questions. They can help you with your confidence. And we really put a lot of emphasis on Supermoms as, building that community to be a part of your training process here when you come through Supermoms. That community is so important to us, and it can really help you as you're transitioning into your new role.
It's so true. And being able to see the progress of people over time, over even a short period of time, is a lot of fun to see just the successes and challenges. And sometimes things don't go the way we want, or there's been a layoff, or there's a challenge. And it's just so heartwarming to see the community there to support and encourage and give leads. And it's really been a lot of fun to see. And I think for individuals that are wanting to, change, I think that's also a challenge when you're pivoting, you're
Right.
going into something new. It's that place that you don't necessarily want to take the challenge into your new job, for instance. It's so terrific to have a community that they understand, they're in the same industry, where you can take a challenge, an opportunity, and talk through it with people that can really relate. And I
Right.
think for me, the other piece was pivoting from this demanding corporate career because I wanted more flexibility and time to be a mom and to make work around my children. I didn't have people that were living that same experience that I felt comfortable talking to, and building a community of people who were interested in having successful careers and making
Mhm.
money, but having that flexibility to be there for their children or family or their interests. That was really cool to kind of brainstorm, well, how did you handle this, or
Right.
negotiating things in. And that's been something I didn't intend to build, but it
Right.
happened over time. And honestly, it happened because of Supermoms. I didn't really know that was a thing, right? A
Right.
community of moms like that. So that has been so heartwarming to be able to just, talk sometimes about the truth. It's hard to be a working parent, and
Right. Right.
it's exciting to see these opportunities, but you have choices to make. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's great to be able to have somebody kind of push back a little bit and give you some honest feedback that you need to hear at times.
Yeah.
Or that person, like, we'll see somebody, there's a couple of in our community that just passed some challenging exams today, and it's been so much fun to watch the community rally and, you celebrate with them. Sometimes if you don't have community, those really exciting moments and the challenging moments, it's just kind of
Right. You
quiet
feel like
all around you.
yeah, you feel like you're by yourself. And that's a really
Yeah.
good point. I love the point that you brought up. A lot of people are looking to transition into Salesforce just for the, fact that, they've heard about the flexibility with roles and working that remote environment, but that doesn't mean that they have experience working in that remote environment. And that can be a whole nother, right?
Yes. Yes.
Another lifestyle that you have to get used to. So really having that community of people that have made that transition and can talk about now, how do you, continue your professional, journey in this remote environment and, working in this flexible, environment. So they can be there to support you. And there's going to be things like you said that come up, childcare issues or things with, taking care of. A lot of people are in that kind of in between stage where they're taking care of their kids, but they're taking care of their parents too, So
Yeah.
there's challenges that you have to come across in prioritizing your work if you're working in that remote role. So having that community to lean on and ask people that have been there before you and have talked about, their challenges and how they've been able to help themselves is really important. And I love that also that the community can celebrate your achievements too. You
Yes.
don't really get that
Yes.
anywhere else. The Salesforce
Yes.
ecosystem is so great with that. I know in my past, when I've done something where, I've added on a new certification or I've skilled up, in a certain area, no one's really there to, to cheer me on and congratulate, me, like
Yeah.
the Salesforce ecosystem. I mean, they are there. And in the same respects, you've seen people that have had challenges and have difficulty in some areas, and people are there to lift you up and say, I will help you. I will, make sure that I, support you, and you can have the support of my network too, so they can, help others who are maybe going through hard times with their jobs or whatever it might be. So that is really cool, I think, too. I've never seen anything like that. When I was new to this,
Yeah.
to the Salesforce ecosystem, I would say that was the number one, thing that kind of like caught my attention, is how much people are really there to celebrate your achievements and
Yes.
make you feel like you're important, which is great.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say that competitiveness. Oh, I'm sorry, we had a little delay there. I'd say
yeah,
the competitiveness is very low. There's this achievement push.
right,
There's go for certifications, but I would say in general, it really is about like excitement about that and challenge, and you're not having to compete against each other. You're really competing against yourself. So
mhm,
it really is genuinely different than what I experienced in the past, where sometimes there was the bit of like, yay, you, but like
right,
a bit more of that competitive, not in a healthy way.
right, right, right,
And it's been, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for that as well built in because
mhm,
of just the essence of how it's built with Trailhead and being able to get the
right,
gamifications and certifications and learning and achieving and all the community environment where you can take a leap and give a session, speak at a conference, and you don't have to be a paid expert speaker. You
mhm,
really can learn and go and take those opportunities. It's not for everyone, but those who
right.
are willing, that's a great way to just become a little known, and there's a lot of interest then in connecting back with you. It doesn't take long to add value to the community and be able to start to give back as you gain and learn and grow as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because we see people coming from all walks of life, right? That are starting and upskilling in Salesforce. So that's another, point I love to stress about that is everybody's coming from, different walks of life. We have, again, stay-at-home moms. We have people that are career shifting mid-career. We have individuals coming from industries where, you didn't use any technology whatsoever. We have
Right.
individuals coming from, maybe they were an engineer in a past life, but they haven't worked for 10 years. So everybody is welcome to learn Salesforce and welcome in that community. And I love that there's all these different perspectives from individuals and all these different skill sets that they bring along. to Salesforce. So I think you're exactly right when you say that, there's a lot of different voices out there, and it doesn't take long to kind of find your voice, because you have a unique background and you have a lot to contribute, depending on what your experiences have been and where you've come from. And so there's always these little micro communities too, right? So people like maybe like transitioning teachers, into Salesforce, and like transitioning, people transitioning from, I come across a lot of trainees transitioning from healthcare industries and all that. So then you're creating these other little micro communities of people that have gone through your same experience.
Yes.
And so it's a little bit different in that respect. Some industries you see at some areas you work with, everybody's kind of got the same background, the kind of the same education. It's not that way with Salesforce. So no matter where you are coming from, you can learn Salesforce, you can get into a good, career. And it's about deciding if it's for you or not. But I think one of the, key points I want to make today is that, having that sense of community when you're thinking about, that transition. So for anybody that's out there thinking about, is Salesforce, is Salesforce right for me? Should I be skilling up in Salesforce? Should I be looking at this? Just know that it like inherently comes with this community, which is helpful. You're not on your own. And then also, of course, just stressing the fact that if you're a part of, a training program like Supermoms, we have our own community too that helps you, that continues, even on to when you're done with training, and you're an alumni. We have a great, robust alumni community with Supermoms, 1,200 actually community members in our alumni group that are there for you as well, that have gone through the training that you've gone through. So maybe that makes that decision a little easier for you when you know that you're going to have a lot of people supporting you automatically if you're thinking about making that move into Salesforce.
Yeah, I love that. I think that micro community is such a smart one. One of the advice I got early on was at the top of LinkedIn to put Salesforce plus whatever that was, insurance, education,
right.
And that can help bring up some people where you really have that shared common goal. And I know for me, when I took my first course, Supermoms course, it was legitimately to get to the access to the templates in the consultancy course. That's what I wanted more than anything. I wanted the course, but I wanted these templates because I was new to consulting, and I knew that Heather Black, the founder, was teaching this course and she was sharing her templates. I thought that was amazing. I did not think a thing about the community. It literally just had no part of my decision. And it's been so valuable. And I just am so touched by the friendships and the journey in just a short period of time. It's really been very, very rewarding. It's reinforced to me that importance and the value of finding your place and your community in whatever industry, in whatever part of life. But it had been a missing part for me, both personally and professionally. And that was, it was so obvious within, a couple of years how important that was. And just so much part of our human experience that in this day and age is a little difficult.
It's difficult, especially now. Like I said, a lot of us want that flexibility and that remote roles, but we have to still have those connections, right? It's still really important. So, I just wanted to, again, if you have any questions, just general questions for us, if you're out there watching us, please do let us know. You can always pop a question in as well, and we can come back to the comments and answer your questions later. We did want to I don't know if Shellen, if you want to just talk a little bit about just kind of what's coming up with, Supermoms as far as, what our next training programs would be, so everybody knows, so that if they're thinking about this, they're on the fence and they want to, find out a little bit more, what can they do to find out a little bit more about Supermoms and what we have coming up?
Yes, absolutely. And Diane, I don't know if you're able to grab that link while I share a little bit of that, and we could drop a Calendly link or the career call link in the comments. But yes, so our next course that's coming up is really our flagship foundational course. It is coming up in 2 weeks. It actually starts the week of November 6th. And it is our Salesforce Administrator Ultimate course. And it is so special because it is designed to prepare for you to be successful in your Salesforce career and have this just robust foundational knowledge. And it's really unique. As somebody who was self-studied and self-certified and then realized as I started to interview that I really had no idea what I was doing and wasn't bringing much value to the table at that point, having this type of course, it has 12 weeks of just learning, this blended experience of live training with Liam, who's such a talented instructor, and then this very flexible on-demand structure for other learning, both in Trailhead, hands-on, reading, videos. There's just a nice combination that you can make work for whatever schedule that you have. And you do that for about 12 weeks. You go through the foundations. You also dive into how to make sure that you really know how to be successful. So you're learning the foundation, but you're also learning business analysis. You're learning change management. There's some components that really help you be successful. And then we pivot as a group and schedule our certification exams. It is a challenging exam, but the foundation of knowledge is there, both the head knowledge and the hands-on learning. And then we do that study together and get prepared and take that exam, and being able to know that you have that scheduled and done and passed your exam. Then we move into the work experience projects. And this really gives you, in that same flexible environment, working for an actual Salesforce customer under the guidance of a project manager consultant, where you have that support. So you're not just like thrown into a job. You actually have that opportunity to learn. You have a one-on-one mentor. So at the end of the experience, which is just about 6 months, but people can be certified and interviewing along the way, it gives you have multiple recommendations, you have hands-on learning, you have lots of stories and examples to share in interviews, you have confidence, you've had coaching. Diane is a certified coach, and we have a really special coaching program that folks get as well that helps so much with having LinkedIn optimization for profiles, optimize resumes, interview skills, and just really being ready to go. So that's coming up. There is probably the best way to take advantage of that is to go ahead and you can go to supermoms.org and look at our courses, but easier than anything is to just go ahead and book a call. And Diana's dropped the links. Just have a conversation, share a little bit about you, and we'll share more about Supermoms and see if it's a good fit.
Yeah.
And then after that, we have you want to talk about maybe the other ones coming up later?
I was just going to say, just on your comment there, yes, I dropped the links and you can make an appointment with Shellen or myself if you just have questions and just want to talk if this, is the right direction for you. We're really just there to support you and talk it through. Everybody has unique situations. Sometimes it's hard to, just find out about, the training program, but not really be able to, talk to someone. It's better to talk to someone directly and just, talk about your situation, your professional goals, and, is this a good direction for you? So I definitely encourage that, booking a call, because usually in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, we can get through a lot of information and kind of break down what the process is and what it looks like when you start training and all those wonderful things that you get as part of our training course. It really so advantageous, especially, the hands-on experience that you get, as well as, for me, I feel like most individuals who are thinking about, training, they're wondering, what are the supports that I get, not just learning the material, but what are the supports? So having those, group coaching sessions, individual coaching sessions, and just that recruitment help too, as well. We have a whole recruitment team that can help you. So that's really a big piece of the puzzle that you need. Learning the technicalities of Salesforce is so important, getting that hands-on practice, but then making that transition and that shift, there's a lot of components that go into that. So we help to prepare you for that as well. So, and our next foundational course that's coming up at that first week in November. So we're enrolling right now. I did also drop the link just to see, just so that you can view what the course is all about. It'll give a really good breakdown of what is included in that course.
Perfect. Perfect. And if for whatever reason the admin course is perhaps you're a little later in your career, there's a new data course that is really interesting. And then at the turn of the year, we have marketing cloud consultancy course. So there's a lot of things that are up and coming. But for those of you that are new or transitioning, the foundational admin course, whether or not you want to be an admin, is such a smart way to go and great way to pivot your career.
Right. And definitely, we do have other training options. You can go to supermoms.org and take a look at our training. One that Shellen mentioned was our consultancy course, which is great because the consultancy course is if you're someone who is maybe in that ecosystem and really is thinking about your next move or how can you really just increase your value. Taking those consultancy skills courses, really more about focusing on, and you brought that up, Shellen, really is focusing on those business analysis skills and techniques. And we give you kind of these scripts that you can use that are invaluable. So this information you get right away that could take 10 years of being in, a BA position to really develop all those techniques and skills. We give that to you right away. And, developing your messaging, developing your communication style as a project manager, those project management skills, change management skills that you need. So, people will take that consultancy skills course, not wanting to go directly into consultancy. They might just want to have those skills available so that they can progress in their career. It really does help you. So we have some great courses for individuals that are already in the ecosystem. We mentioned there's going to be a CRM analytics. We're going to announce a little bit more about that probably within the next week or so. That's going to be really important too. And it could be a great progression for you. So, check out, all the other training options. And definitely if you're thinking about starting your career, the Salesforce Administrator is our foundational program, and that's where to start.
Definitely. And to kick off your community, please reach out to Diane and I. We are on LinkedIn, very active there. If you search in the top of LinkedIn for Supermoms, you'll actually get a whole bunch of people showing up who are very likely welcoming and inclined to connect and give you a community boost.
Yes, perfect. Thanks so much. I think that's it. But again, if you have any comments, please do leave them. We can always come back to the comments. You might be viewing this later, so we're happy to come back and answer any of your questions. And if you want to just book an appointment with either of us, we welcome that too as well. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye. Have a great day.